And that is, I don't know if you heard this, but over the weekend, Russia has now apparently twice deployed, once in Mariupol and once in Lviv. They've now twice deployed a hypersonic missile in battle. This will be the first time that a hypersonic missile has ever been used in battle. Basically, this missile travels much faster than the speed of sound, and it's far too fast for any kind of anti-missile systems like the Patriot missile batteries or the Israeli Iron Dome that we see them using so effectively against the rockets launched out of Palestine and Lebanon. This missile, hypersonic, goes way too fast for any of those systems to stop. It's essentially unstoppable. And, oh, by the way, it can be fitted with a 25-megaton nuclear warhead, which is no small warhead. It's not as big as some we've got, believe me, but 25 megatons, do some damage. So, anyway, they apparently have hit 2 facilities with this missile, one in the very western part of Ukraine, which they supposedly hit a base that was housing what they call foreign mercenaries. They apparently targeted this. This is what we're hearing. I don't know if this is all true. This is what's being reported in the corporate media. They targeted this because they were able to hack into some British citizens' cell phones, and they basically began to find out there were British citizens who had come to Ukraine to fight Russia, and they were holed up in this base over in Lviv, which is, again, in western Ukraine near the border with Poland. And there apparently may have been some ammunition there, some missiles, some other things there at this depot where they were holed up, and they got hit with one of these hypersonic missiles and totally annihilated. They also hit someplace in Mariupol. I think it was the community playhouse, like the theater. Yeah, I think they hit in Mariupol with one as well, is what I heard. Of course, we don't know. Now, interestingly, they could fire these missiles off of MiG. So this is a little bit of a demonstration. But overall, I don't think the war is going quite as well as the Russians had anticipated. It's, again, very hard to figure out. I'm kind of getting a tale of two cities from different commentators. Some people say that things are going just exactly as planned and the Russians are just moving slowly and deliberately. That's a little bit hard to believe. You'd think they'd want to fight one of those lightning wars. That throughout history has been the more effective way to fight war. I mean, that's the way Alexander the Great conquered the entire world, right? He didn't sit around and consolidate his gains and hold his territory. He kept moving. That's how Patton did it. That's how a lot of the great generals throughout history, the Blitzkrieg, the lightning war, the moving fast, move. That's the way to be successful in a campaign in war. So Russia, if they decided to move slow, you might wonder if that ends up being a mistake. Certainly they're giving the propagandists in the West plenty of time and plenty of subject matter to work with. But what I really think is going on, just my best evaluation of it, is that they're bogged down. They didn't expect the level of resistance from the Ukrainians. They didn't expect some of the weapons that were deployed to be quite as effective. They didn't expect the Ukrainian fighters to be as brave and committed to their country. I think they expected Ukraine to just kind of fold up very quickly.
Well, I talked to my son over the weekend, and he said one of the problems they have is that they don't have career soldiers. They go in for like 5 or 6 years, and they're out. So the people that are training them are really good at training, so they don't get the kind of training that the United States gets.
That's a great point. We have a fully professional army. There's no draft. There's no conscription. Nobody's in there who didn't sign up to be there. And like your son, some of these people are some of the best trained people in the whole world, some of the best warfighters in the world. You go to a town and you just conscript all the military-age males and throw them into a truck and drive them over to the base and put uniforms on them. You do not have the same fighting force. It's not the same training. More importantly, as you pointed out, and your son pointed out, it's not the same commitment to the battle. They're basically there unwillingly. They don't want to be there. Unlike our soldiers who signed up for it, who wanted to join up, who wanted to be there, these Russian soldiers don't want to be there. And you're seeing that repeatedly as they're captured. Now, it's interesting because I almost mentioned this a few weeks ago, and I don't think I did mention it. I'm not sure that it is appropriate under the Geneva Conventions to be parading soldiers on television. I think that's illegal when you've got captured soldiers in warfare to be putting them on TV and parading them. But, of course, if you listen to some of these interviews and they're translated, assuming that the translations are pretty good, these soldiers say they want to go on TV. Maybe that's some kind of an exception if the soldier himself actually wants to go on, but they're saying they're sorry to the people of Ukraine. There's this kind of eternal brotherhood between the Russians and the Ukrainians, and that they should not be fighting this unjust war. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show.
We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.